Good morning, everyone. Thank you for getting up early with us. Those of you who went running with Kai Sauer and made it back, congratulations. My name's Teri Schultz. I'm a steadfast appearance here at the Helsinki Security Forum, and I would like to welcome all of you who are here and those joining us on live streaming from around the world. Joining me in this brief keynote session this morning is the Ukrainian ambassador to Finland, Mykhailo Vydoinuk. And we thought it was appropriate to start off today, as so many of us start off our days, thinking about Ukraine, talking about Ukraine, working on how to help Ukraine. And we've only got 10 minutes because we're supposed to be talking about prospects for peace. Of course, if we're talking about prospects for continued war, unfortunately, Ambassador, we'd need much longer. But I wanted to start our brief time here with just saying, how do you find Finland? 2 months here. He's just been here 2 months, so we're going to start off easy.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It's true, I just recently arrived to Helsinki, and I must confess, you have fantastic people here, very beautiful country for sure. But I was impressed by the level of support you Finns are still having and sympathy towards Ukraine. So the statistic says that about 97%, somehow it's incredible. That you have the support. So of course, for me as a diplomat, it's very easy, to work in this country because you meet everywhere just friends and supporters. This is true.
Dispelling all notions that Finland's a chilly place. But now that we start with that, I actually do need to speak about more serious things. And you mentioned the level of support in Finland. Now, all of us last night at dinner, we were getting alerts on our phone about the airspace incursions into Estonian airspace. Of course, many of us have spent the last week working on issues related to the drone incursion into Poland, setting up Eastern Sentry. Again, the drone incursion into Romania. In other words, just another minute in the life of Ukraine, but without the loss of life. So, Ambassador, I wanted to ask you if you're worried, as I am, frankly, that now that there are some admittedly non-lethal at the moment, incursions, that the war seems to be coming a bit closer. The Kremlin seems to be testing NATO countries a bit more. Are you worried that the instinct for self-preservation is going to mean people are taking their eye off the ball on support for Ukraine?
That's true. Russia is testing NATO. And I wouldn't say I'm worried about that we will have less support from NATO countries. I would rather say we are worried about the reaction of NATO members in general. Because at least in my view, yes, you have invoked this Article 4, you started consultations, but what next? In my view, it's very weak reaction, and Putin also reads this as a possibility to continue. That's my personal view on that. I don't see any preventive sanctions. You all remember perhaps that in 2021, before the big invasion started, Russians were building up troops around Ukrainian borders. And we, diplomats and our president and the foreign minister, were asking partners, please don't hesitate, impose now preventive sanctions and show Putin that you are firm enough to support Ukraine, that if he decides to start this open invasion, immediately these sanctions will take effect and Russia will be punished. But we failed back then, and now I also, at least my view, I don't see any strong reactions either. Yes, a lot of concern about that, but again, after Poland, we have Estonia, then we had a drone found in Latvia, we have Romanian case, and I'm afraid we will have more and more because still the reaction is weak. I would rather say that, yeah, preventive sanctions, very harsh one, strong one. You have a lot of tools in your hands, but you should activate them.
And in fact, because we're supposed to be talking about prospects for peace, I don't think anyone argues that making Russia feel that there will be consequences beyond what they've seen so far is the only way to push the process toward peace. And you feel like perhaps everyone in the West is not doing everything they could to try to push the Kremlin into understanding that it must come to the table?
Well, this is something that I would share your opinion here. Unfortunately, yes, for all these 3.5 years of war, We are always trying to persuade our partners, be more active, show your strength. You are powerful. EU is, the organization of 500 million of people. Your GDP is several times, if not dozens times, bigger than the Russians' GDP. I mean, you have all tools in your hands to dictate, not to obey, but to dictate your will. And here we face still the same scenario where everyone is afraid of Russia, where everyone is afraid of being involved into this war directly, where everyone is afraid of giving Ukraine long-range missile because it will somehow escalate the situation. So these all rhetorics, in my view, just proves that we are unfortunately here in this part of the European continent not strong enough or not prepared enough to show our teeth to Russia. And if so, Russia has no intention to stop this war because, I mean, they don't see any resistance. They just say, okay, we will continue, we will provoke, we will test again. Unfortunately, you mentioned Poland, it's again my personal opinion, but I'm really afraid that Russia next time will use missiles and will attack, for example, Rzeszów military hub, as Israel did in Qatar, and Russia will claim this is a legitimate target because this is a weapon, Ukrainian weapon, stationed just on the Polish territory. And what next? I mean, and what kind of excuse we will find for that? So I don't want to give some advices to Putin, how to act in the further stage, but still it's very dangerous. And as I said, I mean, we need to show more strength. You remember the meeting in Alaska, I think already it was a month ago, and everyone was waiting for the next meeting of Zelensky and Putin within 2 weeks. There were kind of even ultimatum from Trump that they should meet. And where we are now, nobody even discussed this issue anymore.
But Ambassador, what would be teeth for you? I mean, and perhaps, and there are plenty of people who say that is what it would take, an attack on Rzeszów, or somebody, God forbid, dying from one of these drones that perhaps was just sent in to be a provocation. What else? I mean, after Article 4, there's only Article 5.
Yes, but even if you read very, carefully Article 5, it also doesn't promise you that everyone will, start fighting on your behalf.
So what are you suggesting they do?
So my suggestion is very simple. Yesterday we had also very interesting panel discussion about how Europe starts rearming. What is the defense industry, possibilities to increase their production, etc. So here again, I would just add the same. Speed is essential, first thing. Second, when you look back, you remember COVID times, when there was a need to immediately, find billions of euro just to pay salaries to those businesses who suffered from being closed during the COVID restrictions. You found it easily. I mean, even I worked as ambassador in Denmark. I remember Denmark already quickly launched, around 400 to 500 billions of kronas. If you convert it into euro, it's 30 to 40 billion of euro, only one country, to support their economy. And when we are speaking about Ukraine, what is the volume of assistance from these countries to Ukraine is much less than it was in the past. So we are capable to produce bigger number of everything, believe me. And the technologies are so rapidly developing. As I yesterday said about, guns production or whatever. I remember when the French company Nexter was about to deliver Caesar systems to Denmark, they were producing 19 pieces for almost 4 or 5 years since the order has begun and when they delivered. In Ukraine, similar systems we can produce within 1 month. This numbers of say. So we are capable to produce more, but unfortunately it's true we need money. So first issue, don't hesitate and try to find more financial resources and invest into Ukraine's internal production. This is number one issue. Second, I think it's time, even as a reaction in my view, to the provocations in Poland or Estonia. Time to say for Germany, we will deliver Taurus missiles to Ukraine because Russia is testing us. This is our next step. If, potentially any other violation of airspace will take place, missiles will be immediately delivered without any hesitation. It's a stronger reply, in my view, than just express another concern. So there are lots of possibilities. And last but not least, in my view, we still need to finally realize that the war in Ukraine is not, again, about Ukraine. We hear a lot of these statements from politicians. But the reality proves that, as you just rightly mentioned, everybody after the Polish attack starts thinking, okay, we need to keep our defense systems with us because what if something bad happens? But geography is very simple. Before a missile can reach Paris or Spain, it definitely should go through Poland or Ukraine or Baltic countries or Finland. So defend this eastern flank as much as possible. This is, a key in my view. And then we will together be able, of course, to stop Russia. So we need more actions. We need less bureaucracy. We need more financial support. We need also technologies exchange. Even now, I would say, even the weapon we receive from NATO countries, sometimes they need to remove some special equipment on board of this weapon because we are not a member of NATO, and these are the rules. Lots of space for improvements, but we need actions.
Okay, our time is up, unfortunately. We very much tried to talk about prospects for peace, but that only comes, in your view, in the view of many people, I'm sure, in this room, through winning the war. And so, unfortunately, we have to leave it there, but he left you with some pretty solid recommendations. And we'll certainly be returning to these themes throughout the day. Thank you very much, Ambassador. Welcome to Finland. Welcome to Helsinki Security Forum. And now everyone stay in your seats because the legends of Kimberly Dozier and General Petraeus are coming up next.
Thank you very much.